Hello, hello.
We're back. We're
We are
back.
back. How are we doing? Guys, thank you so much for joining us again for our latest episode of Cold Calling Live with the one and only Morgan Ingram. Really appreciate you all jumping in as always. We've got a bit of a shout out just housekeeping wise. There should be a bunch of people that are joining us from the Battle of the Phones competition that's going to be running through October, which is a global competition where SDR teams are pitting themselves against each other to see who has the best SDR team in the world. Now, Cognism is taking part, so I doubt it's going to be anybody else, but it's all good for turning up. But yeah, really appreciate anybody that's taking part joining in. Please drop in the chat if you're taking part in that competition. We'd love to see it. And then just generally, we're already loving how many people are posting from around the world where they are. So please throw your name in the chat, say where you're from, company you work for. Screw it, throw your LinkedIn profile in there so people can connect with you as well. But really, really good to have you all here. And obviously, so good to have you here again, as always, Morgan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's good to see you all here as well. Obviously, people are already ahead of what I was going to ask is where are you from? So people are already on it. So shout out to y'all that are already on it and excited for another breakdown of cold calling. And hopefully you all are here to learn and get insights. And David, I'm always curious because we see a couple people in here that I've seen a couple of times before. How many times? How many times have y'all been here? I guess if you're here for 5 times, 4 times, let us know. And then if this is your first time, let us know as well. And we're gonna get into some cold calling here in a minute.
Yeah, for sure. Christian, 6th time. That is
Sixth
Christian.
Time. You gotta get we gotta
you
give
are
him something.
Original. Yeah, we gotta get merch. Ashley Frank, can we from Cognism marketing team? Can we sort out some kind of some merchandise for Christian? We need to see that. And thank you so much for all the people that joined us for the first time. That's really awesome to see. So, plan of action for today, and I think we've got someone joining us already, is we're going to go through, so the format's going to be, we're going to go through a couple of different cold calls. So we're going to do some role plays with people's scripts and give some advice on some cold calls. And then afterwards, we're going to try and do a bit of a Q&A. So there's a Q&A section in the comments. If you click on that, leave your question, and then other people can upvote or down, I don't think they can downvote it, but they can upvote your question as well if they really want to hear the answer to it. So please start throwing your questions in the chat or Q&A, and hopefully we can get around to addressing, to going through them at the end. Awesome. All right. So I think we've got our first guest on. Can you hear us? This is where my pronunciation is going to really fail me. Is it Raham Muthala? I hope I got that right. Can you hear us? I can hear a child potentially running around. Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe come back.
Hey, David Bentham. Hey, Morgan.
Hey,
Hi.
how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
Yeah,
Both
good.
of you.
Are the children running around, or am I
Yes, yes,
assuming?
yes. Sorry, so sorry for the noise.
It's okay. It's great to hear
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Sounds like
It's my
they're having
first time,
sounds like
so
they're
I'm
having a
looking
great
forward to
time.
some learning. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Awesome. Whereabouts are you calling from, and what company do you work for?
I'm working at Trial Cyber, so as inside sales executive from India.
Trial Saber. Okay, great. And can you tell us, the 2-second version of what your product does, and also who your market is? Who are you reaching out to? Who are you targeting?
Mostly those who are using MuleSoft technology. So I'm doing integration platform. So finding the prospects and convert them to our clients. So lead generation, like that. Yeah.
So integrations with MuleSoft. You're looking for people that are
MuleSoft.
using
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
MuleSoft. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Tech sales. Exactly. Tech sales. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And your offering is you generate sales for
Yeah.
those companies.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, great.
Yeah.
Morgan, have you got everything you need for this one?
Can you give me what's the persona? Like an IT manager? Who are you trying to talk to?
You asking to me, Morgan?
Yes.
Nothing. I'm just attending your webinar to learn some about cold calling. So that's it.
Well,
You know,
who are you cold calling when you make a cold call?
uh, like like CTO and CIO and also the enterprise
Okay.
architecture. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do here is whatever you have prepared. It, obviously it doesn't matter because we're gonna go ahead and go into it. You're gonna like call me, and your goal is to schedule a meeting. Now, I obviously have never been a CTO, CIO, or architect. You all know that in the audience. I've never been that before. I'm gonna do my best to be the prospect, and then we're gonna see if you can get a meeting here or not, and then we'll give you feedback. So whenever you are ready, you can do ring ring, and then we'll get into it.
Oh, sorry, Morgan. I'm very new to this industry, so yet to do any cold call. So I'm fresher. So I don't.
So okay,
So
so
I
you
don't know.
so what question do you have for us then?
So how to make a effective cold call. So and also the how to convert a prospect to the client. So
That's extremely broad. So we need to get a little bit deeper there. So have you
yeah,
ever made a cold call at all?
no, not yet.
Okay, so the very first thing that you need to do is not concern yourself on how do I convert people. That's not the first thing that you need to think about. The first thing you need to think about is like, do you understand what a CTO, CIO, and architect even do? So that will actually help you craft the framework that you're looking to build, because ultimately you're not selling your solution or anything. You're first in a cold call, you're looking to sell a meeting. And that's important for like everybody in the chat. Like, you're not looking to sell like the solution, you're looking to sell the meeting so that you could figure out the problems to sell the solution. You can't sell the solution on a cold call unless, like, I don't know, you're selling like soap or something, right? Like, but like for the most part, like that's not gonna happen. So in order to figure out how to do your cold calls, you have to think about in terms of framework. So first step is, what is your introduction? That's the first thing you got to figure out. Second thing is, what is the value prop? So effectively, like, what are you saying that's going to provide value to the prospect? And then the only way you're going to figure that out is you have to study these personas. And then as you make more calls, you only learn by doing. We could give you a lot of advice, and we will, and we're going to do a lot of calls today, but you only will learn by doing, by handling objections, which is my third point. So that's like, first and foremost, to convert people, you have to figure out what their pain points are. So do a little bit of homework there, and then figuring out the three components of what's my introduction, what's my value prop, how do I handle objections. But David, you can even add some maybe 2 sentences as well. But like, that's like the first start when it comes to cold calling.
Yeah, 100%. It's exciting times. But I would agree with Morgan. The first thing you want to do, or the biggest mistake that people make when they're first cold calling, is they just pitch the product or service they're selling, and it's long, it's complicated, and it's just all product, product, product. The key for a really good cold call is to focus on the value you're going to bring to the prospect. And keep it short and sweet. You also need to think about what's your aim for the cold call. Usually people are just looking to schedule in another meeting, and so, but you need to have that, like, what's that, are you looking to just get into a position where you can start a conversation? Are you looking to book in an hour-long call, or whatever it might be? But yeah, I actually don't think you should complicate it any further than Morgan just mentioned. Let's think about, what does your product or service, what value does your product or service bring to your prospective audience? And second to that, you've just got to start doing it, because you're going to get feedback so quickly on what's working and what isn't. So yeah, that'd be my advice.
Thank you, thank you, mate. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
No
You're
worries. Thanks
welcome.
for coming on.
Thanks for coming on first. All right, so David, we know the marketing team's just going to throw somebody at us next. So
Yeah, I know. Morgan, do you on that note, do you remember your first cold call?
Oh, it was terrible. It was awful. It was so bad. It made me want to quit. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I thought it was over. They told me that I should go do something else. That was my first cold call.
That's good management, eh?
It was savage. No, the prospect was like, you should probably not do this anymore, and then hung up on me. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is great. I love this job. Like, I should just keep doing it. And then I did. Because I was like, you can't go out like that. You can't make your first call and then they're like, you should go get another job and then quit. I couldn't go out like that.
It's only up from there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
The good thing is when they tell you something, it's already something. Because my main problem, I do a lot of cold calls, and my main problem is to get the people on the phone. Because there is a more and more common habit now is not to transfer any more call to the CIO and CTO because they are called the whole day long. That's true. But it's more and more communication by email, but they receive thousands of emails. So you still send them more email, and it doesn't really make the difference. The difference is made by cold call and email and combination of both and another cold call. But then the cold call just work when you can get the person on the phone.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's why Cognism is a good thing when they have the right number of the person, the mobile number. But it's all the difficulty because you have it, I would say, in 40 or 50% of the time, but not 100%.
There's no perfect data set, but Eve, you're doing my job for me, so I really, really appreciate it. And I think the marketing team will as well. Eve, please say, so you've made cold calls. You're here to do a role play, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, awesome. Could we go through what we mentioned before? So kind of name of your company, what the offering is, and then who you're calling out to every day.
We are BSO network, and we offer telecom infrastructure as well as help to migrate towards cloud computing. And we are a firm of 70 million euro and 170 people throughout the world. We have big clients and smaller ones as well. But we are David compared to giants such as BT or Orange, France Télécom, in France, or SFR or other Verizon type of telco operator. But we have a niche market for finance institutions, and we are trying to expand our client base into industry and oil and gas and all the industry that are quite demanding in terms of latency and availability of the network.
Cool. Okay, awesome. So just to confirm, you're reaching out to some new industries for you guys, but you're mostly like calling CTOs, CIOs. That's what you said.
Exactly.
Cool. All right, awesome. Morgan,
sometimes it can be people within their team as well, infrastructure manager as well. But we need more information sometimes to get the name of these people. It's not easy.
Cool. So as mentioned before, Morgan's never been a CIO or CTO, so we're going to have to go easy. Anybody that's been here before knows in the chat, like we're not going to be able to give specific product objections, but we'll give it the best go. Morgan, is there anything else you need before we dive in?
I believe we are good to go. I'm good.
Cool. All right, Eve, do you want to do whatever kind of ring you want, and we'll get the show on the road?
Okay, I can go if you want. Then I would be more than ready to hear from improvement tracks and criticism about what I don't do well enough. Or
cool.
Okay, should I start or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, Morgan. I'm calling. I'm Yves Levaillant from BSO Network. I'm calling you because we are providing telco infrastructure as well as help to migrate towards the cloud computing. We are specialized in routes that are difficult to cover. And we are having a client base in financial services as well as in oil and gas and media and games and cryptocurrency type of companies. And I thought that your company could be interested in our offering. what we could do, if you are interested, is set up a small meeting, a Google Meet of 15 to 30 minutes with our pre-sales people and our sales director, if you're interested in that, and listen to.
So what it? How can you help me? I'm a little confused.
Should I tell you a bit more about what we're doing, or?
Yeah, you said that you could potentially help me, but how is that possible?
Well, that we can help you because we have been helping a lot of firms in finance, oil and gas, or media and game, or industry segments with our offering that is especially valuable for low latency purpose. For example, in finance, if you're trading equities, it's important to have low latency between two points of presence. We can also help you migrate with the cloud computing. We have
like as of right now, I mean, it sounds good, but I think I'm all set. I feel like if you send me an email, I could forward it to maybe a couple of my colleagues on the IT team, and maybe they might be interested.
Okay, I can certainly send you some information, and I will do so. But let me just pinpoint the fact that in 15 to 30 minutes, we can really provide you with answer to your current needs, and maybe also answer to what makes us so special on the market for
like I said, if you could
computing.
just send me an email, like I can evaluate my team and we can see if there's a need. So yeah, if you just want to send me an email, I'll get back to you next week potentially.
Okay, sure. Can I send you an email? What's your email address, and can we set up a time for me to call you back once you have read the email?
So my email is morgan@kellogg's.com. And yeah, just feel free to send me the email. I'll get back to you and I'll let you know if the team thinks it's relevant or not.
Okay. You prefer that rather than book a small time slot to call for a call back?
Yeah, I have a lot of things going on right now. So if you just send me an email, I think that'd be great.
I know, and that's why I want to save your time. That's why I'm offering Google Meets of 15 to 30 minutes with the right people, the pre-sales and the sales director of our company, which are both a veteran of the telco industry and the cloud computing. They all have about 10 years of experience, so maybe they can answer a very precise question and bring another brick to your existing capabilities within the company.
Yeah, like I said, that sounds great, but I want to make sure I value my time as well. So if you want to send that email for next week, like more than happy to do that.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right,
Awesome.
cool.
Thanks
I'm
so
looking
much.
at a round of applause for the persistence.
Yeah.
All right.
If I could,
a tough client, but not tougher than the usual one I have. At least we are listening and talking.
Eve, if I could bottle your persistence and give it to everyone on my SDR team, I would. It was really, really awesome to see. Morgan, do you want me to kick off, or?
Yeah, do you have
I can go. I can go. So let me see who said it right there. Ronit. I don't know if I'm saying your name right in the chat, but yeah, if I was a normal prospect, this is for learning purposes, I would have hung up on you probably about 8 seconds in. Yeah, because your intro is like a minute. Like I actually timed it. Is way too long. Like so there's two components of your introduction. So there's like the intro, which is like the pattern interrupt. That should take like 3 to 5 seconds. Then there's a next phase of that, which is like the hook, right? Which is like 20 to 30 seconds. This is for everybody. Once you go over 30 seconds, you will actually find that most people won't pay attention to anything that you're talking about. you have to get them booked in, so then you could start being more elaborate. We call that like SP and LP. So short pitch, and then there's a long pitch, right? So you have to get that short pitch, which is the hook, to get them like reeled in, right? So like that's like the key as well. And then ultimately that will allow you to then ask questions, because here's the thing: you had a lot of good information. However, there weren't any questions asked to talk about the context of what you were telling me. So you were saying, hey, I can help you, but it's like, okay, but what do you know about me that could potentially help me? Now, you did mention the industries, which is, hey, we could potentially help you. That is a fair point. However, if you would have layered in maybe some questions there before you went to the meeting, that would have been the key, because if I'm going to spend 30 minutes, I at least want to know like why I'm spending 30 minutes. Like, what am I getting out of it? How's it going to be beneficial, etc. So
I didn't know your industry. I didn't know your company.
Well, no, that's completely fair. That's completely fair. I would say though, before you go straight into the meeting, maybe there's a question you could have asked me that a CTO typically would be asked, or something of that nature, right? Without company, without industry, some type of persona related question to like open up. Now, I maybe not want to know the answer, but we could have like at least started there, right? But I think ultimately your persistence in how you were continuously pushing to get something is the key of this call, and hopefully everyone picked that up. That was a great job on that part. But that's like my feedback. That's what I saw. That's what I wrote down. David, I'll hand it off to you.
Yeah, I think mostly I'd completely agree with you, Morgan, or I completely do. Eve, just a question. Of the meetings that you book, how many people then show up for the meetings, roughly, like as a percentage? Do you know that number?
I would say probably 30% didn't show up, but I follow up on with them and succeed to book another meeting. Usually they didn't show up because it was taken 2 or 3 months before, and they had emergencies and things like that. But
sure.
Because what I take usually is Google meetings of 30 minutes. And it's demanding for CTO of this level.
For sure.
But we had some very good ones. Yeah.
Awesome. I think the reason why I asked the question is because your persistence, and I think everybody said it like in the chat as well. Like, your persistence is amazing, and it that's going to get you a lot of meetings by just keeping on pushing, right? And as a as a fellow salesperson, I think we all know that you do have to do a little bit of pushing to get to people, get people in sometimes. Where often it falls off is like people agree to the meeting on the call, but then don't show up. That's what I find from the people that just, and a lot of that comes because they agree to the meeting not really knowing what the product is or what value they're going to bring. So I'm just going to echo what Morgan said, and I think the biggest indicator for you in terms of like if you make the changes that Morgan suggested in the call, I bet there'll be a big uptick in the number of meetings that actually then show up.
No, I think it's a very good point.
Will go to like 10.
Asking question is a very good point, and it's very important. It's just that in a cold call, sometimes it's a bit difficult when you call, for example, a very large group, to be either you have a question that is very specific to this group and to the daily work of the CTO, but then it just requires to be extremely well informed about the group, and that's a good limit of the. But I agree. After in the Google Meet, we essentially listen to the customer. We do a presentation, quick presentation, and then we listen to its needs and how we can answer to that. And in the meanwhile, I send an email. As you mentioned, Morgan, it's very important to send an email and try to reconfirm 2 days before the meeting, but sometimes it doesn't. It's not
For sure.
sufficient enough.
Eve, I'm so sorry to do this, but we've got a bunch of people that want to jump
Okay,
on.
yes,
So we really appreciate your time and today. And
Thanks for
like I
the
say,
advice.
thanks for being so brave.
Thank you.
We're gonna have to move on to the next one. We're calling you Mr. Persistence from now on.
Okay.
All right, great. Can we get the next person up, Ashley? Great. Okay.
Oh, it's me.
Great to meet
Flipping hell.
Ali, what a reaction. You're
I
on.
know.
Yes.
You're live.
You guys are right. Oh, sorry, I had you on that screen and I had to put it on this screen.
What's up, man?
How you
Awesome.
guys doing? You good?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Ali, what company are you from? And give us a bit of a brief, and then like who you're targeting.
Okay, so beautiful. First of all, thank you for letting me, jump on the call. So I'm from Screen Loop. We're an intelligence hiring platform. So just in a bombshell, so our technology allows you to keep a data-driven pulse on your candidates, interviews, and new hires, and we target anyone from the talent acquisition space. So normally we go for the heads of talent, CPOs, the chief people officers, some recruitment ops, so people recruitment ops. And we don't usually target like the CEOs and like the salespeople, but we do if we don't find success with the talent acquisition people. But so we've got
Sure.
tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 prospects.
Are you is it for managing talent? Is it like a workable type software?
So we integrate with the 3 ATSs at the moment, which is Workable, Lever, and Greenhouse. So initially, all we do is it's a pulse. So it gives you analytics on your interviews.
I tell you what, Ali.
Yeah.
I bet you.
If we go in,
Yeah, I reckon we're going to hear all about it. But I just wanted to
Yeah.
know because I've got a bit of an understanding of the ATS ones. I'll take this one,
You got
Morgan, unless awesome. All right, so I'm going to be ahead of people. Is there any particular industry or anything else you want me to be for your
No,
role
that's
play?
fine. Take your pick. So just so that I know what competitor I can relate you with. So so fintech, bank.
Yeah, cool. I'm a head of people at a SaaS company. Then does that work?
Okay, yeah, kind of works. We'll just go banking. Bank's probably easier, like fintech.
Cool. All right, banking. All right, got it.
Okay,
Amazing.
so,
Do you want to give us a ring?
carry on, ring.
Hello, Dave speaking.
Hey, David, it's Ali calling from Screen Loop. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just running into a meeting, Ali.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry that I've called you a bad time right now. I'm not going to take too much of your time. Is it okay if I carry on?
Sure. You've only got like 2 minutes, though, I'm afraid.
Okay, that's perfect. Apologies again. I know you weren't expecting my call, but the reason why I'm calling you, David, is because you're the Chief People Officer at X company. And we work with a lot of people officers like yourself through our technology, which integrates with your Workable ATS. Now, understanding that again, I've called you out of the blue. So I was just hoping if we can have a conversation either tomorrow or later next week, just to share some insights with you.
Sure. Like, can you just give me a? I'm sorry, I don't understand like exactly what you guys are offering. Like, what can you?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. In a nutshell, Screen Loop, so we're a recommended partner of Workable. Our technology allows you to keep a data-driven pulse on your candidates, interviews, and your new hires, which allows you then to simply attract, retain, and hire the best candidates with the amazing candidate experience. So it's a very visual platform, so I can talk about it all day. I can sell you the product, but it will be amazing if I could just get 10 minutes just to give you a chat, show you around, show you what we're all about.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe like one of my team could pick this up. If I like if you send me an email, I could loop them in. I'll just get one of my just initially, like maybe it's easier if like I can get some of the teams to pick it up.
That's perfectly fine. That's okay. If you don't mind me asking, who would you say the best person is to speak to? I know you're quite busy and your schedule's pretty full.
Yeah, I've got Steve. He's our talent executive. So he, initially it might be best for him to get some eyes, and then kind of he can let me know.
That's fine. That's perfect. Fine. I'll get in contact with Steve, and I can definitely send you an email. I can definitely do that. Just to make sure it's a valuable email. Do you mind Sorry. Do you mind me asking what's more relevant to you? Because our platform covers a lot of areas such as sourcing, interview training, interview analytics, automated referencing, new hire success. So just to make it more tailored for yourself, what's best to put down in the email?
I mean, yeah. Look, we're always. I suppose we're looking to improve in every area. So I mean, we're workable. I know you mentioned like you integrate with workable customers, so
Correct.
getting integration there.
Okay.
But otherwise, I suppose I'm just interested in anything that's going to help us improve.
That's fine. That's fine. The only reason I asked you is because typically when I send an email across, I tend to get more questions than answers, which is what you just proven right now. So I figured it's just a lot easier to schedule some time. So would you maybe be available instead of Steve, like whenever you're free, even if it's the next week or the week after, whenever I can get 10 minutes in your calendar, and I'll even send you lunch on us if it's on your lunch.
Okay. Well, now we're offering lunch. I'm interested. Do you do burgers or?
Okay, anything you want. So I don't know if you heard of Reach Desk. So I'll send you a Reach Desk voucher. Then you can get, Deliveroo, you can get Starbucks, whatever you're after, and then we can have a chat because we can't really do it face to face. So while we're having a chat, you can have your coffee, you can have your lunch, and I can show you a bit more about the platform.
Sure. Sounds good, Ali. I could do Tuesday next week.
Tuesday next week. Okay, it's fine. Can I just verify your email? So is it david@sas.com?
It is, yeah, correct.
Okay, if you don't mind, just 10 seconds of your time. Have you inbox open right now?
Yeah, I'm in front of my laptop.
Okay, that's fine. So I've just sent you the invite. If you could just, what's it called? Accept the invite on the call, just so that I can lock in a product specialist. So, so I know I'm not taking too much of your time, and so I can get him on the call as well, so you can get some professional insights.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Okay, that's beautiful there. Thank you. I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Awesome.
Thank you, bro.
Great job.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Really great job.
That was good. That was good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maury, do you want to kick off?
Yeah.
Ali,
I
you're
love that.
You're lighting up the chat. Everybody's going crazy about that one.
Thank
You're
you.
really great job.
Appreciate it.
It's
It's Screen Loop. It's not me. That's what it is. It's Screen Loop. I'm trying to show you guys what it is.
He's showing love. He's showing love.
That's what it is, man. That's what it is.
All right, let's talk about it. So let's talk about what I wrote down that I really liked. So you had we all just heard it, right? This close was extremely strong. I will tell you all right now, if you do what Ollie just did, your like meeting show rate is going to be extremely high. Like I did the same thing as an SDR. It was like an 89, 90% show rate. And because I just did that every single time, getting people to accept the calendar invite psychologically gets them to say yes. So it's like they're already there. So I love that. I love how he verified the email as well. Like you can get fired up and then black out once you get the meeting, and then you don't verify the email, and then you end up losing the opportunity. So you don't want to do that.
Sure.
I also love that you asked the question around an email that's relevant to you, and I like how you spun that and said, hey, look, like this is exactly why I asked, right? Put it back on the prospect in a respectful way, not in a mean way. I like that as well. And you have a really good tone and pace and flow. That's a big piece of the cold call, and you nailed that really well.
Thank you.
This is just my suggestion. This could be more nitpicky. I'm curious what other people think in the chat. I'm actually curious what David thinks as well. One thing that, as I've trained like a lot of reps on this, is when you are going in and talking about the persona, it's not necessary to even mention what their title is. Because ultimately, like, it's like, yeah, that's what their title is. Like, you could just go straight into it and save yourself a lot of time. Like, you don't say, hey, I noticed that you're the chief people officer at this company. Like, that's not necessary information because they already know that's what they are. So just talk about their role anyways and say, hey, other people that are within your role, this is what we help them do, right? Just get to the point. But that's me being, again, nitpicky and giving you a suggestion. And I always just tell people on the close to the call, you went for the meeting. That's always fine. You can also open up the question. Just always thinking about connect before you try to convert, and try to see like what kind of pain can I get out of that to then get them to convert. But you eventually got there, so it worked out. But those are the two things I would suggest. But overall, this is a great call.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, the only reason why I'm not saying you're wrong, obviously, but
yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're absolutely incorrect.
No, because I'm saying you're incorrect. But the only reason is, I'm just saying the idea behind it is like, I've researched you. I haven't just cold called you out of nowhere, so you're not just a random person off my contact. That's the only reason. But I'll definitely take your advice. Yeah, thank you.
To back up Morgan, like the problem with that is that these people are getting cold called all the time. That's the most generic statement that they hear. They hear all that on everyone, so it doesn't work. It makes sense. Your logic is totally makes sense, but like they do hear that every time, and it's the same as when we you know, I see an automated email come to my inbox. I see it a mile away because I know that it's going to mention my job title. It's going to mention like the company, and that's all it's going to mention. And that's the personalization. So that's kind of just to back up Morgan slightly on that one. I've got you back, Morgan. You know me.
Yeah.
All right.
Someone else had to back me, but you know.
Ali, just really quick, because I think we were hoping to get another person on as well. I just want to. I think from receiving, you did a great job, right? It was absolutely awesome. Whoever trained you must have been trained by someone else that was really good back in the day. I know who you had to sales as. So the things that I would say is around those identifying pains, challenges, and goals. Like I have a heavy focus on my SDR team understanding at least one pain, challenge, or goal associated, and I think that's where, you know, you've gone straight in for the meeting, which is, you know, textbook. If you get the yes, that's fine. But if you don't get the yes straight away, I think I would try and start exploring like their experiences, what they're struggling with right now. Start opening up the conversation a little bit more, because then, you know, what you're looking for is them to, if they say, again, like I don't have a full understanding of your product, but if they say, yeah, we're really struggling with candidates not turning up for their interviews, I'm hoping that that's a problem you solve, right? But then you can be like, that's exactly a problem we solve, and this is how we solve it. Like, let me show you. And then, you know, that's gonna be, if you're solving or like helping towards a pain, challenge, or goal of a prospect, they're always going to turn up for the meeting, and it's not only going to create a meeting, but it's going to create great pipeline for the business in general, right? Those are the really high quality prospects for you. So that would be the kind of only thing from my end. And I tried to give you the opportunity to, by like pushing back and be like, oh, tell me a little bit more. But like, you know, and I think that's the right time, is after that first hook statement. If people push back a bit, that's when I'd start trying to open start asking some really open-ended questions to get into the conversation. That'd be my feedback. But you did a really, really great job.
Yeah.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Morgan, and appreciate you guys letting me go on.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ali, and good luck. I think you're in Battle of the Phone, so really good luck to Ali and the Screen Loop team in that in the competition as well. Okay, I think we're doing one more, right? I think that's a plan.
One more. Oh, Joe, here he is.
Hey guys, nice to see you again.
He's even got the music in the background. He's ready.
Yeah.
Joe, you've been on before. Have you been on before?
Yeah, I've been on before.
Okay, all right, awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Coming back for more.
Yeah, we also have the music on in the background, but I'll turn it off for this because sometimes I'm right next to the speaker. As with the continued development of the team, you know, the guys have all passed their probation now. They're currently going through their AE training. So I wanted to focus on a different area of our services in this call again, so we can all learn as a group on what's working, what's not working, and because of their really good effort and how many appointments they're setting me, I'm no longer really able to do any BD myself with them. So I thought I'd take this opportunity again to, you know, put myself in front of everyone just after Ali smashes it, like perfect timing.
If you're a member of Joe's team, he is an awesome manager. Never quit. All right, like he is, like this is awesome that you're doing that, Joe. All right, great. Do you want to give us remind everybody the company you work for, your service, and then who you target?
Yeah, so we're Avalion. We're an information security consultancy. So we do data protection, pen testing, cybersecurity, and ISO implementation. Wanted to focus on the ISO side of things, ISO 27001 specifically. Happy for either of you to be CTO, CISO, CIO, any of that, you know, that tech side amongst the SLT. That persona's fine. In sort of our typical client base for what we'll be targeting there is somewhere between Series A and Series B, tech-enabled business. I know, David, obviously you guys have implemented it, and you know, probably some of the things I'm going to say about why these guys need to implement it will be the same reasons you did it.
100%. Okay, great. Morgan, do you want to pick this one up, or?
I got it.
Okay, awesome.
And you said data protection. So is there a certain persona that you want me to be here?
So, CTO, CIO, CISO, and I'm going to go down the ISO 27001 route is what I'm going to focus today's pitch on. So if you don't know what that is, just
I
sort
have no idea what that is. I'm going to be very transparent. I have no idea what you just said. But if you would to give me a quick snippet so I have some understanding, I'm all ears.
Yeah, it's the international quality standard for information security. So as I go into my pitch, you'll hear why companies like you are implementing it and why it's so required. So just roll with the punches a bit as you can. Don't just, when I say, are you getting much requests to implement this, don't just say no, because that's not true.
Cognism have done theirs. I can speak for Cognism. We've done ours, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, I feel like I need to go to like CTO, CIO training after like to equip myself for these calls. All right, cool. I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, ring.
This is Morgan.
Hi, Morgan. It's Joe calling from Avalion. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm all right.
Only all right. Long week. The end of the quarter's weighing heavy on you.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, man. In the month, in the quarter. Yeah, I'm just trying to get to Thanksgiving right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, at least you still got a good 6 weeks or so till
I know.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we got a bit. I'm trying to hang on.
Okay. Well, I won't try and take up too much of your time. The reason I'm calling is I've obviously had a bit of a look into you guys, and I wanted to have a chat with you around ISO 27001. Now, I know you guys don't have it at the minute, but being honest, we've had a huge amount of engagement from sort of tech-enabled businesses between their Series A and Series B funding around ISO 27001 implementation. And, you know, it's sitting in 3 core reasons why those companies have been pushing it. One, you know, that increased supply chain risk management that's getting pushed down. You know, your big clients are demanding that of you. Secondly, it's helping the courtship of those Series B funders and is really able to demonstrate that you take information security consultancy. And the third one, which might sit in your camp, I know you're relatively new to this role, is, you know, CTOs coming into new businesses and finding this as a great way to really help themselves embed it and really drive that information security standard across the business. And the reason I'm reaching out to you, I know how burdensome implementing ISO 27001 can be. You know, I was part of the SLT in my last business. We were a software business ourselves in that position, and I had to implement it. And no single task has ever given me so many grey hairs as that. And I didn't even lead on it, to be honest. I was just supporting. So yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that because we've got 100% success rate implementing ISO 27001, and I'm not just after multiple attempts at certification, at first attempts at certification. I mean, you know, how hard have you been thinking about implementing ISO 27001, Morgan?
Yeah, so lots of information there. We haven't been thinking about it extremely hard, but we have been thinking about it, and it's on the radar.
Yeah, and I know it's a big task, and you know it's not a light switch that you can turn on. It's nowhere near as implementing, say, Cyber Essentials or Cyber Essentials Plus. It's a much more difficult task. But you know, the reason we've got 100% success rate is we've got a really good team here, and we're able to really lift the burden around that implementation process from you. I mean, we've got the former head of business continuity from Visa. He managed 37 sites across Europe, and he's leading an incredibly diligent and skilled team. And what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to take the burden of, you know, writing those policies and procedures that you need to implement. We're going to be able to support you in the training of you guys when you're going through that audit. We're able to set up your IMS or your ISMS if you've already got 9001. We'll be able to really strip that burden away. So instead of you spending 30 hours a week on it for the next 3 to 6 months, you can spend 5 hours a week on it, and we'll do the rest.
Yeah. So is this all manual? Like, is it like what's the process? Like, will I have support? Like, sounds like you're handling a lot of people. So like, will I be able to actually get all this done? Like, I have some questions.
Yeah, that's the point. We'll take the burden away from you around the administration of writing all those policies and procedures. I mean, it's 74, 75 policies and procedures you've got to implement to make sure this is covered. We're going to write all of them for you. And I'm not just talking about handing you a load of templates that have just got your your header at the top. At the start of the engagement, we'll go through a decent, proper gap analysis to really understand your business, what your objectives are, where you are in this and what you're trying to achieve, and then be able to create all the policies and procedures based on that information that we've gained.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, so what I want to do really, Morgan, is obviously I appreciate I've called you out the blue, so it's not appropriate time to really go into this fully. But set up a call for maybe Friday or Monday. I'll bring on Danny onto the call so you can meet him. He is a bit of a grumpy Frenchman, but he really knows his stuff when it comes to ISO 27001. So we can have a more detailed conversation. We can show you our process and how that can work for you, work out where you are, and then we can take further steps forward from that.
Yeah, I think this could be potentially interesting for the team. I'm pretty strapped right now on some other things, but this is something that has been on the radar. I feel like someone on my team, Angelica, would be able to handle this.
Okay, so why don't we have a call, the four of us, you, me, Danny, and Angelica, say Monday afternoon next week?
Monday is not going to work.
Okay. When is working well for you early next week? I've got my calendar in front of me, so I'll try and work around you.
Maybe like Thursday afternoon.
Thursday afternoon? Okay. Well, I appreciate you're a busy man, so I've got no problem doing it Thursday afternoon. Personally, I can either do 1:30 or 4, which will work best for you.
4 would work.
Perfect. 4 o'clock, I'll get that all booked in. I'll obviously send you over an email confirming that. I'll include a couple of case studies and a bit of preamble for you so you know what you've got coming in. But, we'll be able to really demonstrate how we can strip this burden away, how we can support you managing, taking away that stress where you're getting all those vendor forms coming through time and time again. And instead of spending hours completing them, you can just send them an ISO 27001 certificate.
Sounds good.
Perfect. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 4.
Okay, cool. All
awesome.
Right.
Thanks so much. Round of applause for Joe.
We got a round of applause for Joe. And then this might be our last call here, David. So everyone else can throw in their questions and we'll answer the rest of them. Let's see. I can go first. David, you can first. Let me know.
I suppose my instant thought was it's a bit wordy. Now, I think that actually talk about the good things. So your tonality is fantastic. You speak so well. It's so clear. It did feel a little bit wordy from my perspective. And also there has been a comment, I think, from one of your team about your ring at the start, which does need work. In terms of the wordiness bit, I'm just interested, one thing that I think we've always done really well, we especially did really well at the start, was do a lot of customer interviews and understand if you were to explain it in layman's terms, explain the advantage of your service in layman's terms to friends or family, not even people in the space, but friends and family, how would they explain it? And I think the reason that comes to mind so much is because I know that this is very specific, but the way that the company has always sold ISO to me as a salesperson, for example, is the fact that if we don't have an ISO certification, pretty much, it's going to be very difficult to sell to enterprise businesses. And it's as simple as that. Right now, obviously, that would be specific to if you were speaking to a sales use case, perhaps. But I was just interested, how much time you spent speaking to, have you been able to have any of those conversations with your customers?
And something I probably struggled a little bit with that is because Morgan doesn't have the context of what ISO 27001. It was difficult for me to go, how many customers in your CNI space are putting that direct pressure on you to get ISO 27001, which would be the sort of question that I would typically go into.
Yeah. So that would be your hook statement usually.
Yeah. So I try and, depending on my client, I either try and speak from my previous experience where, I was selling to companies turning over $1 billion a year, and we had to have ISO 27001 to engage with them the same way in you guys do. And I talk directly to that and ask those people some of the same burdens I had when we were going through that process. Or if I'm pitching to someone I know is is security focused, about the benefits they'll get from implementing that, this consistent approach, this company wide information security, just uplifting all of those various security standards.
Awesome. Yeah, I think Joshua's put some like a really interesting comment in the chat about, going in with like, look, have you ever lost any business because you didn't have the certification? Like, what's the what's the worst case? You're creating a pain there, right? That maybe they haven't recognized already. That could be a really interesting question to explore. Morgan.
Yeah, and Joe, that's why I figured I put like asking more questions, but my thought process was, if you would have asked me a question, I wouldn't be able to give you an answer that you could actually work with. So, which like is the scenario that we're in, but that's completely fine. I think ultimately at the end of the day, like, you have a lot of great information. I think I have this conversation with people when they do target CTOs and CIOs, when I train them, is like, how in depth do you need to go? How much brevity do you need to have versus like being very technical and just being like business outcome oriented? That's always a conversation. So I think that the way that you did the buckets, I think, was interesting. I think maybe you could still do the buckets and maybe not explain them as in depth. Maybe say, hey, here are the 3 buckets that we typically work with. Like, which one of these are on your radar? Like, because we've been talking to a lot of people like yourself. I think you could shorten that down. And then if they say, hey, it's number 2, then you could go into your longer spiel that you did. I think that might be more beneficial. After that was me hearing it the first time. I think that would be better. I know there are people that I've coached and they do the bucket approach. They have something that's very complex, but they know these are the 3 things they talk about. They mention the 3 things and say, hey, which one of these are on your radar? They say 1 or 3 or none of those, and then they go into their talk track from there. That could be something that could be interesting. I think overall you had a good talk track, and you had obviously an understanding of who you were talking to and the quality of the conversation. The last thing that you forgot, though, is you didn't get the email of Angelica.
I'd use Cognism to get that, to be honest. If you don't have someone's email, I'll spell that. That's not,
You're getting on the email for Angelica, so she's not going to be on the call. So that was it. That's all I had before we go into these rapid fire questions we have.
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, as always. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks for all your comments in the chat. It's been awesome. All right, great. So I think the plan now is we want to move on to some Q&A. So Ashley, can you throw up? Perfect. Oh, just like magic. All right, so we've got our first question, Morgan, from Sarah. So how do you make an intro more personalized when you can't find any more information than their job title and very basic info on the account, i.e. speaking with tech departments in very private financial firms?
Yeah, so this goes back to what I said earlier. There's 3 levels. Well, I didn't say this, but I did say you need to understand your persona. There's 3 levels of insights that you can have that make this conversation more relevant and not standard. So the persona, the person, and the organization. If you don't have anything about the person, like what they like to eat or whatever, or there's nothing on the company, then you still always have the persona. That's why it's important for every single person here to research and study your personas to understand what are their pain points and what they're looking to accomplish. So you can always lead and say, hey, like, been doing some research on, head of sales, and one of the things that they're really focused on right now is increasing revenue is always it, but increasing revenue. So I'm curious, like, what are you doing to make sure that you can hit 100% of your targets? That's still a relevant question that most people won't ask on a cold call, like, funny enough. And it still allows you to stand out a little bit more and be personalized. Because if you can't find information, then yeah, you can't be personalized if you can't find it, but you can still be relevant. And that's the suggestion I have there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I will back up 100% what you said, Morgan, because speaking to Ellie Emerson, who is the SDR manager at Fresh Relevance, and she bangs on, and rightfully so, that relevancy always trumps personalization. Right, you don't it's actually way more effective often to just make sure that what you're pitching is relevant to the persona, as opposed to seeing the fact that they play chess and then just mentioning that at the start, throwing that in and mentioning at the start of the call. That's true personalization, is actually around relevancy to the persona. So yeah, just to echo what Morgan said. Cool. Should we get? But love to hear what other people think in the chat as well as we go through these questions. Let's write in the chat what you guys think. Should we get our next one up?
Next one, let's go.
It's gonna be I think this is gonna feel like a bit of a rapid fire.
Yeah.
Okay. Sajid has said Cognism does help with mobile numbers. Anybody need mobile numbers? Come and go on the website, ask for a demo. Any tips to handle contacts going ballistic when calling on their cell phones? How did you get my mobile number? I do not care what you are selling. Just delete my records from your database. Okay, all right.
We gotta get this one to you, David. Like,
yeah, I think
so.
so.
Yeah, I think you got this one.
Okay, cool. All right, look, it's always going to happen. It's always going to happen. I could go into all of the legalities of it, and how like ultimately it's fine, but people have different feelings and different views. Honestly, if someone answers the phone like that, and it is, ballistic, I'm being very literal when I'm hearing that someone says like is going ballistic. To be honest with you, it's a case of picking your battles, and what we often say is like, you can, as a Cognism customer, say, look, I got it from Cognism. Feel free to jump to speak to them, cognism.com. About how they got it, but I'm really sorry for bothering you, and move on. I know that won't sound perfect, but for me, like, I'd rather, it's very difficult to turn someone around who is going, and I'm being very literal when I'm assuming in the very literal sense they're going absolutely ballistic. But Morgan, I don't know whether you've got something more general than that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna stick with your answer. I actually don't have too much to add to that, so I'm gonna stick with what you have, so we can get to the next question.
Cool, awesome. All right, let's pop up the next one. Thanks for the question, though, Sajid, and thank you for being a Cognism customer. All right, so Ronit has said, what are folks finding regarding dials and completed dialogues with key decision makers? On average, how many attempts do you need to make before completing dialogues? I'm assuming dialogues means connects.
I'm assuming that's what it means, like completed conversation.
Right.
Once you connect, I'm assuming that's what that means.
Yeah, Ronit, can you confirm if possible? But let's
little bit
go
of
based on
context.
that for the moment, Morgan.
Yeah, so to give you all a context, when you ask these type of questions, I always have to answer with it depends, because like, what kind of decision maker are you talking to, and also what are you quantifying a decision maker to? Because sometimes people don't quantify that the right way. If it's a cold call and you're looking to schedule a meeting and you don't have any like rules of engagement, you're probably gonna have a 3 to maybe 5 minute conversation to book the meeting. Could be even less. Like even more than that, like it could be like 10 minutes plus, because some SDRs, when they call, or AEs when they do a pseudo discovery and then their next call is a demo. So it really does depend on what it is. The answer to this question is ultimately what you should be looking at in terms of data. That's why looking at your data is important. You should be looking at it and be like, hey, like, let's look at our connect rates. How long does it take me to actually get a meeting with the person, right? And then once you're able to determine how long it takes to get the person, that's how many dollars you should typically make per day to then get meetings booked. So I would reverse engineer the data to understand that. But you said your aim isn't necessarily to book an appointment. So my question is like, what are you looking to do? Right? It sounds like your question's a little bit, your goal is a little bit different than like the majority of people when they make a cold call. Is what it sounds like. But that's my answer to the question without having the most context. Like that's like how I'd approach it.
Yeah, I think agreed, and it's going to depend on your persona. I always talk about the fact that I'm very lucky that I sell to heads of sales or people in sales. They generally like picking up the phone, so our connect rate's probably higher than if I was calling CTOs, CIOs. Just generally speaking, for relevance, Cognism's connect rate on colds is about some 9% at the moment. So if that adds any context, every call we make, 9% of them we're getting through to the prospect we want to speak to. Cool. Should we move on? Do we have time for one more?
I think we have like
we're pushing it a little bit.
It has to be like the fastest answer ever.
Okay. All right. This could be the fast one. What's the best way? It's a classic. What is the best way, in your opinion, around gatekeepers?
Oh my! We have so many videos on this. Y'all should go check out the Cognism website. We have answered this a good bit, but best way is like be an ally. Ask, hey, can you help me at the beginning of the call? They'll be willing to help you. Then ask for the person you want. That's because we don't have enough time. I can't elaborate, but that's how you do it.
Yeah, and for me, also you can be very authoritative with gatekeepers as well. So if that's not working for you, try the opposite way around and act like you're meant to be there. Okay, cool. That's all the time we've got. Again, they go so quick.
They go
Morgan,
very fast.
It's been wonderful as always. If you enjoyed it, please let us know. if you don't follow Morgan already, please follow Morgan. I'd be very surprised if any of you didn't follow Morgan on LinkedIn, but because there's literally 100,000 people that do. Feel free to connect with myself on LinkedIn, and we're going to do this, I think, again in another couple of weeks, few weeks. So if you want to sign up again, Ashley will leave the link in the comments, and we'd love to kind of get you on and get you role play with you as well. So once again, Morgan, thank you so much for your time. Thank you everybody for being here in the chat. We really appreciate it, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, hopefully you all found this helpful. Appreciate you all, and like David said, we will see you all soon.